Hello, Pisces. This is your 2019 yearly predictions for love and relationships. As you can see, I'm trying a new format, more like a newscast. One, I'm sure you guys would like to see me once in a while. And then two, let's skip over all the academic explanations of the cards and get down to business. So, your yearly predictions, you see that I'm pulling the cards. You're more than welcome to pause the video if you want to study the cards in detail. I'll leave that up to you instead of me. You'll see that I'm pulling out 21 cards, 3 rows of 7. The first row will be the first 4 months of the year. The second row, May through August, and then the last row, the end of the year, September through December. So I'm going to pause it right here, and I'm going to point some things out. Hopefully you can see my little arrow floating around here. I'm going to try to point out a few things. First and foremost, my first impression. Some of you with your love interest or partner, there are issues with the phrase that came to me is, "I can't quit you," from Brokeback Mountain. I can't quit you. It's one of those, for some of you, it's one of those relationships where the person runs away because they're afraid, they drop the ball, they hurt you for no reason, and then all of a sudden they have to come back and they make amends and they pull you in. And so I see a lot of that going on with the swords energy, and I'll tell you why. First off, I've noticed that these swords are showing up next to some very strong romantic cards. For instance, on the first row, beginning of the year, very, very strong because you have the Lover's card. And then it's followed by the Hermit and then this Five of Swords, which is, I know some of you are like, oh no. Then here, end of the year, September through December, you've got this lovely Two of Cups, and it's followed by a Three of Swords. So I'm seeing a lot of conflict between water and swords, and maybe there's some of you Pisces people who are connected to an air sign like Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. And if it's Libra, I apologize in advance. I'm a Libra. We can really play mind games. We can really get paranoid. We can get jealous. We can run away, especially if those swords are reversed. But what I'm seeing here is, in general, because this can play out for some of you in different ways, is a relationship or a connection where you're more open with your heart. You love hard. You love deeply, Pisces. And this person with the swords energy, I'm seeing this duality, you versus the person with the energy of the swords. I'm seeing this person with the swords trying to get rid of their baggage so that they can love you properly. You know, you would love to spend the rest of your life with this person, some of you, but this person just hurt and pain from the past, unresolved issues from previous relationships. So as I said, and I've said this many times in different videos, this will play out in different ways, okay? This is, for all the thousands of Pisces with different astrological charts, especially if in your house of love, you might be a Mars or Aries, you might have the planet Mars, the way the planets are aligned and where the astrological houses are matched up with the astrological signs, you might be a Pisces sun sign, but in your house of love, you might be Aries, or you might even be Libra. So, as I said, all of this can play out for you Pisces people in many different ways. So, yeah, that's the first thing that I noticed. That was the first thing that created a big impression with me. Lovers, followed by the Hermit, and then this Five of Swords. More love and commitment, followed by a Three of Swords. Lovers is obviously very strong, and you also have that Two of Cups, and One of the things I first learned from tarot is obviously when the cards, based on how the cards are played out, if they're next to each other, I always learned that if you have a lover's card with a Two of Cups, there's a very strong soulmate connection. But keep in mind, these two cards are very distant from each other. And also, as I said, I keep seeing these swords right next, following these romantic cards. And when I look at the Two of Cups, Pisces, I do see you in love. I do see you putting your heart out there, especially after this Knight of Swords. So you've got this water energy, you're a water sign, and it's surrounded by these swords. The Knight of Swords followed by a Three of Swords. In the first row, you have a King of Cups, which is, I believe, it's not associated with Pisces. I believe it's associated with Scorpio in this particular tarot deck. It's followed by a Queen of Swords. So yeah, this idea of the outpouring of your water energy, the outpouring of love, and then your love interest is always responding back with the intellectual, detached, overthinking that they get scared and they run away, or they push you away, or they find some way to stall the relationship. I'm not saying that all of you Pisces people are connected to dysfunctional people. Some of you are probably not even connected to air signs. Okay? So I just want to put that out there that, my first impression is this push-pull in a relationship. And also, I wrote down a phrase, I can't quit you. You remember that movie, Brokeback Mountain? That's exactly what I was thinking about, that you two can't quit each other. And if you remember the movie Brokeback Mountain, it's a really beautiful love story, but it's about two people who, it always seems like the wrong time, wrong place. And throughout the entire movie, I was looking like, why can't they just be together? Why can't they be courageous enough? Well, obviously, by the end of the movie, you know why, because, one person got killed because this was a same-sex relationship. But I think of Brokeback Mountain when I look at this spread. I can't quit you. At the same time, when you're together, it's always torture because there's some issue or bad timing. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing here for 2019. You can't quit the person, they can't quit you. How are you two going to make it work? All right, so you also have some Wands and Pentacles here, okay? And I feel like that those tell me more about how the energy of the relationship in general. Now, if your partner is Pentacles or Earth sign or even Wands, okay, that's great. I kind of feel like the ebb and flow of the relationship is kind of set up between this connection between the water and and the air, the cups and the swords. So you only have two major arcana. That's another thing that kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? You have the Lover's card with the Hermit. That's it. That's it. You only have those two cards. And I'm like, okay, so why do they only have two major arcana cards? Well, not a lot of big changes here. It could be that you are going to be working this out with this person. There's a learning experience in store for you, but not a lot of big shakeups. Okay. Doesn't mean that you might not even find a different partner, but in general, the lessons that are going to be learned in 2019, the issues that you're working through, it's pretty much under your control. It's a matter of what decisions you decide to make. Okay, so you only have two major arcana cards, the Lover's card followed by the Hermit. And as I've said many times before, the major arcana kind of gives me a framework. It gives me a framework for what is the overall story here. And the overall story that I'm getting is love and passion and desire, and then being alone, someone pulling away, Or even when they're with you, you might feel abandoned and detached, like, okay, they were all over me a week ago. Now they're not even returning my text messages. So that's the type of thing that I'm seeing here. So when we go to the first 4 months, this is about loving and leaving. King of Cups with the Queen of Swords here, those two energies. But then you have the Queen of Pentacles. She is geared towards the homemaker, making a life together with lovers. So yes, I get this very strong connection, being together. And then, like I said, the Hermit. And it's followed by this Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords can be a pretty harsh card. Most swords are, for some reason. Most of the swords in the tarot deck are usually about fears, hurt, abandonment, cheating, that type of thing. Okay, so yeah, the swords can be pretty harsh because they're usually about um, pain and fear, drama, all the things that we don't want in a relationship. So, having said that, the first year, um, you might fall hard for someone, even if you're starting a relationship. What I'm seeing is really a really deep, passionate love affair. And then the person ghosts you, or they push you away, or they leave, because Five of Swords can be the card of rejection. And then you have a Six of Cups, which is the card of missing someone. Okay, usually someone in the past, having memories of the past. I know some of you like to interpret this card like someone's coming back, and that's definitely possible. But I do kind of feel like, seeing that this Six of Cups is following the Five of Swords, that this is more, and it's following the Hermit. I'm kind of seeing this event play out to where, Valentine's Day, hot and heavy, and then things cool off. Okay, in the most general sense, I'm not talking breakup or someone leaving you. In the most general sense, I'm just getting a cool down where you're like, oh, they were texting me every day. Now they're not. Okay. All right. Now, when we head into the second row here, no major arcana at all. And so, based on what I wrote in my notes, lots of stagnation. And note that it starts off, the middle of the year starts off with lots of cups energy. You have an Eight of Cups, meaning setting your boundaries, walking away from something. I feel like it's just a timeout for you. After the crash and burn of the first 4 months, when I look at the middle of the year, I see you with the Eight of Cups walking away, taking time out, taking an emotional break. Then the Seven of Cups, which is about making an emotional decision. You have to choose a cup. But it's followed by more pentacles. Note you have that Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. What does that mean? I feel like these pentacles are more of a grounded, stable energy, you getting your life together. It could also represent a person in general. Some of you could be juggling two people. Very possible. But then, once again, that King of Swords in the middle. And so, one of my predictions that I want to sort of put out there, um, based on what I'm feeling from this King of Swords. When swords are reversed, someone can be very vindictive. Okay. Whenever I see a court card, especially like a Queen of Swords, King of Swords, Knight of Swords reversed, and keep in mind, you've got pretty much almost all, with the exception of Page of Swords, you've got the Queen of Swords here, King of Swords reversed, and then that Knight of Swords shows up. The King of Swords is reversed, and as I said, it's in the middle of the spread. And the card that's directly in the middle, this is the middle column, middle row, it usually gives me a sense of what the root issue is. And the root issue is someone that you're in love with, that you care about, who is too toxic, who's working through their dysfunction, who's working through past issues. Okay? And as I said, that might play out in a lot of different ways. It could be a situation they're in. They could be married. Um, Maybe there's a death in the family. Whatever it is, when that King of Swords is reversed, it can mean someone who's capable of cruelty, capable of lying, um, capable of manipulation. Not saying that's going to happen to you, but if you're watching this in regards to your person, Pisces people, your person is working through a lot of issues about love and trust in the general sense. So you have that Four of Pentacles reversed. You will see that it's about, four is the number of stagnation and stillness and nothing moving, nothing changing. And then it's followed by another four, the Four of Swords. That's about taking a rest and retreat, just falling back. Okay, so this person in the middle of the year, they are going to be struggling, between missing you, um, working through their feelings, being stubborn. It could be that earlier in the year there was a big argument, and that argument sort of pushed you away, a big, big issue that you two could not come to an agreement about. And so I see for some of you, this summer might be a big break for you to where you go separate ways and you're doing your thing, you're taking vacations, you're just getting your life together. And this other person, they're retreating. They're waiting for you to come back, for you to pick up the phone and say, "Oh, I miss you, take me back," whatever. So I see once again that push and pull heading into the middle of the year. When we get here, um, Three of Wands. This is the card of hope and positive expectations. Okay. He's looking out towards the sea. He's thinking, yes, good things. I'm expecting good things. And there might be a reason for that, because when we look at the last part of the year, yes, you've got this Knight of Swords returning, getting your hopes up for love. But note how the Knight of Swords is headed in the opposite direction. I see your feelings getting aroused again, your feelings for this person coming back. So this is where I get the person with the swords energy who can't quit you, who's going to try to come back into your life late August, heading into September. And that's when we have that Three of Swords, disappointment. It doesn't necessarily mean this person is going to hurt you or break up with you, but this person might actually come back with their own pain, their own suffering, their own issues. So once again, this person where they're constantly coming back to you, they're constantly, for some of you, it might feel like they're leading you on. So that's when you come to this Page of Pentacles here. And I feel like the Page of Pentacles, as I said, you've got the Queen, the King, and the Page of Pentacles, no Knight of Pentacles. But nevertheless, I see these Pentacles as a stabilizing influence on you, Pisces people. Pentacles represent earth. Earth and water go together very well. And just because you're water doesn't mean that you can't find grounding, that you can't find stability, because you do search that out. Water, the energy of water is always flexible. It can move in any direction. Like Bruce Lee said, be like water. Be flexible. Don't try to fight changes or fight obstacles. Be flexible. Move around them. And so earth is a pretty good complement to water, obviously, because water nourishes the earth. So when I see those pentacles here in the spread, what I'm seeing here are you, Pisces people, taking a step back with this dysfunctional person, the person with issues, and you're taking time to regroup and think. But then you're heading into the end of the year in chaos, and maybe some changes, not on the big level, but I get a sense of flipping the script. I see this as you standing up for yourself. Now, fire and water aren't necessarily seen as compatible because water puts out fire. As far as air, air nourishes fire. So this is where the "don't fuck with me" theme comes from, because I feel like some of you Pisces people are going to end the year with saying enough. Enough. Stop it. You're either going to follow through or not. You either want to be with me or not. But in a general sense, knowing that thousands of you are watching this video with Pisces in your sun sign, or even ascendant or moon sign, I do get that sense of you saying, okay, you're going to walk away from me again? Go ahead. And the song that comes to mind is Elton John, "I'm Still Standing." You know, this person really tried it, but they failed. But I feel like everything's going to come to a head near the end of the year with this person. And that's when you end up with a Two of Pentacles. Um, and usually the Two of Pentacles, when it's not reversed, it's about juggling and it's about keeping things in balance. I feel that for some of you, there could be a big discussion or argument or confrontation because you see that Five of Wands. The King of Wands is like, enough. You know, the King of Wands, fire always brings change. So when I see that Five of Wands being followed by a Two of Pentacles reversed, I'm like, things are going to be sort of upended, but not in a bad way. I'm kind of seeing this as something that needed to be done to, one, put this person on notice that they cannot mess with you this way. And then two, ushering in a new energy for you to where you're like, okay, things are going to be out of whack for a while. They're going to be upside down, but you're going to find your balance again. Okay. And sometimes when the Two of Pentacles, you know, you see that young boy juggling the cards, sometimes we get too comfortable with dysfunction. Sometimes we get used to the lies or the dysfunctional patterns of someone coming in and out of our life, and we don't do anything to change it. So when I see the fire showing up, you have that King of Wands, and then you have the Five of Wands, which is about conflict. The Five of Wands, by the way, is not as severe as the Five of Swords, because the Five of Wands is about it's about little petty things, you know. Sometimes it's about competition. But in the card, you know, if you go scroll back to the beginning when I pulled the card out, you'll see this knight battling the dragons, slaying the dragons. And that is probably what you'll need to do for 2019. Slay the dragons. Theme is still "don't fuck with me." But in the bigger picture, slaying the dragons of this relationship and establishing your boundaries and saying enough. And yes, it'll throw things out of whack where we don't get comfortable with the lying and the going back and still trying to fix things and still trying to make it work. But sometimes we need to be, sometimes we just need to give up juggling and trying to make it work. Sometimes we just need to let the cards fall where they may, pun intended, and just say, you know, I don't care one way or the other. That's what I'm seeing here with that Two of Pentacles. And I'm seeing you more stronger. I'm seeing you seeing the bigger picture, like enough of this. And I'm seeing you taking your power back. So all in all, I see a lot of struggles in 2019, but I also see you coming out empowered and letting this person know, okay, enough. Okay. I don't need you. You know, I can move on. I can find someone else, but enough. All right. So that was your reading for 2019. And you might want to consider getting your own personal reading. As I said, these are general readings. But invest, treat yourself for Christmas or the new year and get your own personal reading on video, or you can call me and get your own predictions for 2019. So, having said that, I do hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I will see you next year. As always, January readings are going to be coming up in a few more days. And I wish you love and light as always. A big shout out to all my subscribers, all of my clients who get regular readings from me every single month. I appreciate you, and it's so good to hear from you. And one last thing, remember my relationship energy reading. I have a special until the end of January, $10 for a relationship reading. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading but you're not sure, $10, very inexpensive. Um, the relationship reading basically looks at the intentions of the other person. What is the big picture for the relationship? What is the future? So if you're going to get a reading from me and this is your first time, relationship energy readings are a great way to get to know my style, to get to know my to see what my readings are all about. So go to tarotbyair.com. Thanks again. I'll see you next month, and Happy New Year.